Hello everyone and welcome back to Tanya Files. So I was planning on making multiple videos about my severe dog phobia because I have so many stories to tell about it. But what I will say is I was watching a YouTube video just now, and it was basically one of those crime YouTube channels, basically kind of like Cops except a little different. And I really like their videos, but I'm definitely going to put the link to the video I watched in the description box because you guys need to see this. But I just have to tell you, though, that to anyone who used to judge my dog phobia, after you watch the video that I'm about to describe, I really don't think you can criticize it anymore. Okay, so basically the cops were called saying that there was this homeowner that had like 5 or 6 dogs. All of them were pit bulls, and I've heard what those can be like. And so the homeowner invited a lady friend over, and I guess the homeowner wasn't there. The homeowner wasn't there when the cops showed up. So either the homeowner invited the lady over for a visit, or it was a setup, who knows. But anyway, the lady walked over, she went into the house, and 3 of the pit bulls, all male, started to attack her, and she was trying to get away. By the time the cops showed up, all 3 of the dogs were on top of her, ripping her to pieces. And there was blood everywhere in the yard, and there were parts of her body that were ripped out of her. The cops could even see the lady's bones. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, it scared me to death, and I was only watching it on my phone. Like, I mean, I've heard of dogs doing terrible things, but oh my gosh. And the cops even said that they were eating her. So when the cops showed up, they were trying to get the dogs away from her. He was like, get off of her! And then 2 of the dogs started charging at the officers. The officers shot the 3 dogs. They shot them dead. And then there was a 4th one that ran around and then came back. And I think that one was shot too. I don't know. And here's the thing. When it comes to my dog phobia, I would tell people all the time, if you want to have a dog, fine. I don't care, because it's not my responsibility. But I would always tell people that they would have to keep their dog away from me, because based on my experience, once a dog knows that you're terrified of it, they love to take advantage of that. But then people would always say the dogs are so smart. Well, if they were so smart, then maybe they wouldn't take advantage of the fear and actually behave so that maybe the phobia can go away over time. But no, it doesn't work that way, obviously. There actually was one dog in my family who actually could sense my phobia, but did the exact opposite. So I'll talk about that in a separate video, because that dog actually deserves their own video. I wish all dogs were like that one. But yeah, those pit bulls were coming after the officers, and I mean, I'm sorry, but it's like, based on how those dogs were ripping up that woman, I mean, the dogs were also charging at the officers, and they probably would have ended up in the same situation. So they had every right to defend themselves. And so when the 3 to 4 dogs were put down, there were 2 more in the house, but the homeowners were not there. So that's still a mystery of everything that went down. Unfortunately, there weren't any details in the video about like why the homeowners weren't there or anything. So the officers at first were afraid to go into the house because there were 2 other dogs, and they thought that they would be just as bad as the ones that were outside. But they also knew that, you know, the woman who was being attacked, if there was someone inside being attacked, they had to get in there quickly and rescue anyone who could be in trouble. So they called animal control. They went into the house. They were able to get the other 2 dogs out of the house without shooting them. I guess apparently the remaining 2 pit bulls were female. That's according to the animal control and officers. So, I don't know. So they were removed from the premises. They checked inside the house. There were no other victims, or the homeowners were also not in the house or anything like that. But it just, like the officers, I mean, like I said, there was blood everywhere in the yard. They even found parts of her heel that the dogs bit off in the yard, and part of her calf muscle. Like, oh my gosh. They were ripping her apart. And like I said, the dogs were eating her. The officer said that if they did an autopsy on those dogs that were shot, they would find parts of her in their bodies. That is a bad dog. I don't care what dog lovers say. That is a bad dog. But anyway, the victim who was attacked, she was airlifted to the hospital. She had to have her legs amputated up to her knees. She suffered head trauma and had to have face reconstruction surgery. And according to the video, no charges were filed against the owners, which I think, well, I mean, since the dogs who attacked her were put down, I mean, I guess I can understand that, but I mean, if you're going to invite people over to your home and you have dangerous animals, you know, that is a problem. And also, there were a few neighbors who also showed up at the crime scene because they wanted to give officers information. They said that they were complaining about those pit bulls for a long time. So, yeah. All I can say is, you know, if you're going to be a dog owner, you know, you have to train your dogs to behave. And if they attack somebody or badly injure somebody or even kill them, because, you know, unfortunately, some dog attacks do end up in death. You know, I mean, I'm sorry, but, you know, I mean, in my neighborhood, there's a law where if you have a dog, it either has to be on a leash at all times or it has to be in a fenced area. Now, most of my neighbors follow that law, while some of them don't. And that's part of the reason why I don't leave my house that much. I would love to be able to walk in my neighborhood, you know, but I can't do that because I'm afraid of coming across a loose dog. And, you know, I mean, how would I be able to defend myself? Because whenever people say a dog is a man's best friend and he's not going to hurt you, first of all, to any dog people who have been saying that, you need to stop it. Because first of all, if you can't read a person's mind, then you can't read your dog's mind. You cannot predict how they are going to behave 100% of the time. Actually, one of my neighbors who lives right next door from me, she has a little dog herself, and surprisingly, her dog doesn't bark. I wish my other neighbors' dogs would be like that, but anyway, She told me that she was taking her dog out for a walk, and there was a pit bull or something like that down the street that was not chained up or anything. And it tried to go after her and the dog. And I told her, I was like, well, that's why I don't walk in the neighborhood. Because if I did, and I was in that situation, I would want to be able to defend myself. And also, here's something that's... Actually, I'll save the last story for a separate video as well, because it was very scary. But, yeah, that's basically what I had to say about that video. I saw, like, I felt very traumatized after seeing that, you know. All I can say is if you're going to have a dog, it's your responsibility to have it trained and to make sure that it behaves. Because if it attacks somebody or injures somebody, you are liable. And the person who the dog attacks, they have every right to defend themselves, whether you believe that or not. Now, if the person who was attacked was, like, intimidating the dog, then that's a different story. But in this situation and other situations that I've done research about, the dogs were not intimidated or anything like that. They just attacked people just out of the blue. And that's not okay. So, yeah. Alright, so let me know what you guys think about this. Like I said, I will put the link to the video that I described in the description box, because, like, the way I described it, I mean, it can give you one perspective, but if you actually watch the video, you can literally, like, feel the same terror that I felt. Trust me, you don't have to have a dog phobia in order to find that video terrifying. Alright, so, yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on this, and also let me know what you think about the video when you check that out as well. Alright, I'll see you soon.